Coming up next, we'll talk about how to deal with your emotions at work. I'll tell you what a gorilla in a basketball game will teach you about focus. We'll take your calls, your chats, and it all starts right now. Coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville. You are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do that, and how you can get there. I'm Ken, so thrilled that you have decided to join us. We take your time very seriously, and this is a serious conversation. It's a conversation about you. Because you were created to fill a unique role, that means you are needed, and it means you must do it. So jump in, give us a thumbs up if you're excited about today's show and learning maybe from others. Be encouraged by others. So let's talk about how to deal with emotions at work. This is serious stuff. Work can be very difficult. And when things get difficult, emotions spring up. What can we learn from those emotions? We'll get to that. Great article from totaljobs.com here that I'm going to read from, and then I will get to what do you do with this information? Science tells us that we have 6 universal emotions. In the late 1960s, psychologist Paul Ekman suggested that these big 6 were apparent in all cultures. But which of them are we most likely to feel in our working culture? Totaljobs.com surveyed 2,000 plus workers and managers and asked them to open up about their emotions in the workplace. So here are the big 6 emotions that we're most likely to feel at work: joy, surprise, anger, sadness, disgust, and fear. Now, just a quick snapshot. I want to keep moving. Interestingly enough, sometimes I can't talk, folks. It's unbelievable. Joy, 90% of people are feeling joy at work. That's great news. Now, this is not all day long, but they're just experiencing this emotion. Surprise was a close second, mid 80%. Anger was low 80s. Sadness was right at 80%. Disgust was in the 70% range, and fear 60%. So what is making us emotional at work? And I'm not surprised by this finding at all. Workers told us that 1 in 3 emotional events were triggered by a colleague, whereas only 2 in 10 were caused by a task. So it's people, not surprisingly. This is interesting. This survey discovered that men may be far more emotionally sensitive in the workplace than women. Men were more than twice as likely as a woman to get emotional because their ideas weren't heard or because they were criticized. Now, dudes, this just speaks to the fact that you're all about respect. If I don't feel respected, my emotions spike. Women are feeling significantly more stressed than men. So there's the flip side. So what triggers our emotions if we're a woman or a man? We'll run through this real quick. Men were 1.5 times more emotional than women about being criticized. Men were 2.4 times more emotional than women because their ideas weren't heard. Men were 2.5 times more emotional than women about having a fallout. That's some type of argument or disagreement or confrontation. And then women were 25% more emotional than men about stress and frustration. So how do we deal with these emotions? 1 in 3 people simply put on a positive face. So that means they didn't do anything about it. They didn't deal with the emotion. They just slapped a smile on it. 25% deal with these emotions outside of work. So you're slapping a smile on it and you're holding it in the workplace, and then you deal with it outside of the workplace. This is where alcohol, affairs, drugs, marijuana, I don't know, you just fill in the gap here. If you're bottled up in the workplace and you try to deal with it outside the workplace, it's usually going to be something that's not so great. So what do our reactions tell us? And this is what I wanted to focus on, then I'll give you something practical to do with this. Anger is associated with influence, where sadness is associated with a lack of self-confidence or power in a workplace environment or a particular situation. So understand that when you feel these emotions, what I want you to do is don't just bottle the emotion, hold up, allow yourself to dive in and go, okay, if I'm feeling anger, it's because I don't feel like I've got enough influence or my voice isn't being heard. If I'm feeling sad, maybe I don't have the power or the self-confidence that I need. So go deeper than the emotion that you're feeling. Don't try to treat the emotion. Get to the source of the emotion. Again, when you go to the doctor, you tell them the symptoms, but we're trying to get to the source of the symptoms. Now, here's some good news. 3 in 4 people are enjoying a good chuckle on the job, and I think we need more laughter. Why? Research suggests that laughter among colleagues can improve ongoing relationships, cement cooperation, and help people transcend the mundane. Now, all of this, folks, can be handled if you're in your sweet spot, if you're doing the right thing in the right place. But let me just wrap this up by saying this. If you are constantly experiencing negative emotions in the workplace, number one, you better get to the source of what's causing the negative emotion. And number two, once you've identified and you're clear on what's causing the emotion, you have got to share that. You cannot hold that in. Ideally, you want to take the source of the negative emotions to your leader. And if you're in a healthy leadership organization like Ramsey Solutions, that leader is going to deal with that. And you're going to get a better result, and that emotion is going to improve because you have solved the source of the symptom. Or if leadership won't deal with it, you know you need to be out of there anyway. So we've got good results. And then you better have a friend, a coworker that outside of the office, so it's not gossip, you can release some of those emotions and just share them and don't let them bottle up. You have got to know why the emotions, and then you have got to deal with releasing the emotions. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. We started off in Fallon, Nevada with Angela. Angela, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call today.
Well, hello, Angela. What can I do for you?
So I currently work for a national nonprofit, and I am a military spouse. And so I would just love guidance and direction on steps I could take now in my current sweet spot job to continue growth and development within the organization, despite the inevitable potential of another cross-country move due to my husband's military career.
Right.
We're currently in baby step number 2, so having financial dual income is really important to our family, so that way we can become debt-free and begin to save and invest for our future.
Okay. So let's break that question down. You want to grow in this organization, and I love your mindset. Yes, you may have to move soon, but you still want to grow. And so tell me, if I heard your question, Ken, how can I grow? I want to know the area or areas where you most want to see some growth.
So one of the big challenges for military spouses is, the 3 to 4 year moves that happen frequently. And typically with that, it's starting a brand new job all over. Mm-hmm. And so really when I say grow, I mean that I just want to stay with the organization. I want to prove to them my worth and that I'm a valuable team player. And despite potentially, going from coast to coast or even potentially overseas, that I could stay within the organization and continue to work for them and do the job. Okay,
I get it. And I'm going to dial back the same question. I understand what you're asking. So what you have to identify is, how do I make myself so valuable that they don't care if my husband moves me? They want me to stay on the team. So what have you identified that would make you that valuable? What do you think the areas where you could grow, you can increase your skill set, which would then hopefully increase your influence, and therefore they go, oh, we cannot lose Angela. So what have you identified?
I think in terms of my strengths and passions, again, I feel like I'm in that sweet spot. So I am a great communicator. I love listening to people and advocating for them. And in that same regard, I have a lot of empathy and compassion. But then I'm also a great organizational thinker, and I love creating processes. So,
okay, what's your role right now? Tell me what your day-to-day role is.
I'm on the HR team, so I support the entire Western States region, including Nevada, where I currently live. And so my day-to-day role, I just actually started the position a couple of weeks ago because we did just move from the East Coast to the West Coast. So my day-to-day role is supporting the different programs that the organization has as far as supporting education. So we work a lot with internship programs, onboarding all of our new employees, really just engagement at the end of the day is what my main focus is in my role, getting our employees invested in their own futures and careers.
Okay, so there's a 3-part process, a 3-part focus is what I would rather call it, that will guarantee you and anybody else listening and watching this program right now that you will get an opportunity to be promoted. And as a result, you've created tremendous value. And that's what you want. You just want to be so valuable that they just keep you on board. That's our goal. So Angela, yes, right. So it's 3 parts. Number 1, know your role. You did a good job describing your role. I think you're very clear on what your role is. I want you to be absolutely crystal clear that you don't just know what the role is, but what is expected of you to the point where they go, this is a win. Angela is hitting home runs every day when she's doing this. And if you're clear on that, then you can begin to focus on the next step, and that's accepting your role. And I think you've done both of these, but I want to run through them. Accepting your role is an attitude issue. It's not probably the dream role for you. You'd like to move up within the organization, yes or no?
Yes.
Of course you would. But here's the deal. There is no next if you don't crush the now. You tracking with me, Angela?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. So really accept this current role. And I think you have. I don't think this is something we need to focus on. I think you have a tremendous attitude. I think you're very clear on what a win looks like. Okay. Now, the third focus, maximizing your role. This is the answer to the question you asked me. Now, I don't know, the nuances of your organization, but I know that this works. What I mean by maximizing your role is, since we are clear and we know what a win is supposed to be, you have to go above and beyond what they're saying a win is. So you're consistently delivering day to day on what's expected of you and what a win looks like. But now you're going above and beyond. That means you're helping other people. That means you're bringing newer ideas and newer solutions to the table, and you're expanding on their already good systems, and you are somehow involved in making them go from good to great. Are you still tracking with me, Angela?
I am, yes. That sounds...
You get it. You get it, right? While I'm talking through this, you're identifying how you do that. Okay, so that's it. So when you maximize your role, Angela, here's what happens. They come to you. You don't go to them. They come to you and go, Angela, you have gone way above and beyond what we've asked of you. You're crushing it. We want you to move up. And they identify how you move up, and they move you up. And then in a year or two, or whenever the next assignment comes around, you go in and go, oh my gosh, guys, I love you and I want to work with you, but we're moving in, to 5 states away, but I think I can still do this. And they go, absolutely. Whew. Angela, you scared us. We thought we were going to lose you. We're so excited we get to keep you. That's where the dialogue will go. If you know your role, you have tremendous clarity. You accept your role, you have a wonderful, awesome, infectious attitude of gratitude. And number 3, you maximize your role. You go way above and beyond what they are expecting you to do. And by the way, that's not just advice for Angela. That is the 3-part discipline, the 3-part focus that will guarantee you that you will always be noticed, and you will always be valued, and you will always be promoted. Because if you do those 3 things and you're not being noticed and promoted, you are in an awful organization, and it is time for you to go. 844-747-2577 is the number coming up. We're going to get to your questions in the chat room, so fire those away. But first, we go to Felton, Delaware, where Kim joins us. Kim, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
My husband and I have made a decision that we need to move closer to our family. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering how I can ask my boss if I can continue to work remotely. But if we move closer to our family, that would be a 9-hour difference instead of an hour and a half away from the office.
Are you driving into the office now, or are you remote?
I drive in a couple of days a week, but most of the time I find that that's not very productive, that I could actually get more done if I just stayed at home.
Does your leadership agree with that, or are they yet to come to that conclusion?
I have a new boss. He actually lives in another country, and he has decided that that's fine. If we need to stay home the entire week, that's fine with him.
Okay, now this is some great news. This is great news. Kim, I don't think this is complex then as I thought it might be when we started the call, because number one, your leader is in another country. So 9 hours away doesn't even matter. I don't even think it's relevant. And he's already signed off on you not even going into the office as it stands. So I think you just say,
Yes.
okay, wait a second. You didn't tell me something. You got to tell me. What'd you not tell me?
I'm concerned because I will have to fly in now to the office for meetings and things like that, and that will add to our budget. That will add cost to our budget.
How much?
Well, I know flights and hotels and possibly a rental car is going to run probably $1,000 a trip. With
How many
meals
times?
and
How many
everything
times? How many times are you gonna have to do that?
He flies in once a month. So I'm guessing as much as once a month, but at least once every 2 months. On top of I travel for a living. I travel internationally as well.
They're not going to pay for you to, if you work remotely, they wouldn't offer to pay for your trip?
I think they would if they, here's the thing, if they don't want to pay for it, if they don't want that added expense.
Yeah, but listen, welcome to the real world, Kim. So we're just walking through what could possibly happen. Listen, you're the one deciding to move closer to family. So I think it's very simple. I think you make the case, hey, we're moving close to family. I'd love to stay here. I travel a lot as it is. And so I'm just curious if you are open to discussing me staying on. And then if you are, let's break that down to see if I'm open to staying on. How often would you want me to travel back into the mothership? And okay, right. That's going to cost this much. Is that something you all are willing to pay for? And if they say yes, then we've got woohoo. If they say no, then you look at your budget and you go, what's the better scenario? Me moving back home, staying in my current job, but I'm now adding an expense that I didn't have before. Can we absorb that into our budget? And if we can, is it worth absorbing it, right? You understand how to walk through this. This is not rocket science. And then I think you go...
I never thought that. I never thought that we would go ahead and pay for my travel to the office.
Yeah, but my point is you got to walk through all these scenarios. But you got to just ask, okay? And so now let me finish my process. So the second scenario is you're moving to be closer to family, and that's more important to you than keeping this current gig. And you go find a gig where you work near your family because you have a lot to offer. Kim, I just read this morning, January jobs numbers, folks. Listen to this. Lowest rate in 50 years. I keep saying that every other month because it keeps going lower. This is the time to switch, Kim. You got a lot to offer. So if you really want to move to be back near your family, I think you have two clear options. Do you guys want me? If you still want me, the only way I'm staying is if you pay for that travel expense because it's not worth it to me. We're going to find out how badly they want you, aren't we, Kim?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And that's the concern for me is what do I do if it's just not going to be feasible?
Kim,
what job do I go look for? And I don't. That's what I don't know next.
Well, no, that's a second conversation. You know what your sweet spot?
That's a total another.
Well, you know what your sweet spot is? Sure you do. You know what you do best. What do you do best?
So some of the things I do best I don't like.
Kim. This is the Ken Coleman Show. I'm the one who directs the conversation. Your job is to answer my question. I'm going to lead you there. Kim, what do you do best? Just tell me the things I want to know, abilities and qualities. I'm at the top of your list. What you do really, really well. What are they? Give me the top 3 or 4 real quick. Don't think, talk.
Data analysis.
Okay.
Data analysis, research.
Okay.
Numbers.
Okay.
Writing reports.
All right, great. Data analysis, research, crunching numbers. Okay. Now we get to talk about what you love to do, Kim. See, you got ahead of me. Mm-hmm. I want to know the tasks, the functions, the roles. It makes your heart beat. It gives you high emotion and it also reveals high devotion, meaning you get fired up thinking about it when you're in the middle of it. And you're devoted to it. Time just disappears. You'd do it for free if you could. What is it? What work do you love, Kim?
I know what I like a lot. I don't know if I love it.
All right, just give me that.
I like in the past, when I've worked with customers and given them tours of our facilities, or when I visit customers and look at their facilities and talk to them about their issues.
Okay, what would you call that? Describe that to me, the role. What would that be?
I mean, within our company, it would be
No, stop. No, I don't want a job title, because now you're trying to wordsmith it. Kim, what is that role? What is that role? How would you describe that to somebody? If you got to create that role, you'd go, this is what I do, and this is why this is valuable. What's that role? Say it.
I don't know.
Oh, boy. Come on, Kim. I'm working really hard here. I'm going extra time with you right now because you're locking up. What would you do tomorrow if you knew you wouldn't fail and you knew you'd love it? What would that role be? Describe it now. Say it. Go.
The only thing I know of is thinking about maybe being a financial advisor.
Oh, okay then. So, Kim, you and your hubs have got to decide what's most important. If you want to live near family and be near family, then we go, that's what's most important. And I, Kim, have a lot to offer. And I'm gonna go the path I just spit out at the top of my heart. If you want to be a financial advisor, that's the work that you would love to do. Let's check it for a moment. Do you have the natural ability and skill? Oh, let me go to your list here. It's right here on my moleskin. I'm really good with data analysis. I'm really good at research. I'm great at crunching numbers. Joe, quick question. I hate to put you on the spot, but are those the skill sets and talents that someone would need to be a successful financial advisor? Tell him what he's won, Bob. Yes. So wait a second. Now, what do we do now? Let's just say for the moment, Kim, that despite all of your doubt and fear that you've just exhibited for us, that's what you really want to do. You do it if I gave it to you tomorrow, that's what you said. So you got the talent. You really like the idea of being a financial advisor, and I suspect that you love the result of what you'd be able to do for people. Set them on a great financial course. So now we're clear. Let's assume we're clear. That's stage 1 of my 7 stages to the dream job, meaningful work. Stage 2 is get qualified. Kim, your homework assignment. What do you need to learn and do to be qualified to be a financial advisor? How much is that going to cost you? How long is it going to take? Those 3 questions, you answer those questions. Now you've got yourself a plan. And you and the hubs got to decide. Do we do that? We hold off on moving close to family? Please don't let being close to family make you make a bad decision. The family is still there. You can FaceTime them. You can go see them on vacation. So maybe, Kim, it takes you a year to get qualified so that you can step into that financial advisor role and help people with a retirement investment and start killing it the moment you show up in the family zip code. There's a novel idea. So stay where you are until you're ready to step into the work, not just, we want to be near Uncle Bob and Aunt Sally. Uncle Bob and Aunt Sally, they're living their life. You need to live yours. Let's not overthink this, folks. I'm all for moving near family. But don't create this complex, convoluted situation like Kim has just created. And Kim, I love you, but you just need somebody to shoot you really straight, and I'm that guy because you called me. Stop making this so complex. Simplify. Where do I want to live? What do I want to do when I get there? How do I do that? And I just told you, by the way. 844-747-2577 is the number. Hey, we are loving this YouTube interaction. This is so fun. I'm going to ask you point blank, help us spread the word. There are a lot of Kims out there. Nobody's doing this on YouTube. Nobody's doing this on national radio. We're doing it. I'm going to go deep. I'm going to take a little longer if I need to. I'm here for you. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like right now under the video window. Give us a thumbs up so that YouTube sees something special is happening here. And let's get you clear so that you can start stepping forward on the path to fulfilling the role that God created you to fill, because somebody out there needs you to be you. This is important stuff. All right, let's go to the chat window. Rob B says, Ken, my boss is putting extra work on me. I feel like I already have enough on my plate. What do I do, man? Rob, you got to go to the boss. You got to sit down and go, hey, man, listen, I got a lot on my plate and I want to help. I'm in, man. I'm in. And I've said yes because I want to be a part of this team and I want to step up and help you. But I need your help. I need to know what the priority is. I got extra work on top of my other work and I'm starting to drown, boss. And that's not good for you and it's not good for anybody else. I'm all in. Can you help me prioritize what is the most important? There's an old principle out there, Rob. It's called the Pareto principle. And it says you got to spend 80% of your time on the top 20% of priorities. Your leader will understand this. And if your leader doesn't accept this awesome, humble, clear conversation that I just described, well, you're in the wrong place. So that's what you do. Aquila Shea, hashtag FBA. Nathan, it never surprises me, these usernames. So let me just do this qualifier. I'm reading what's on the screen, folks. If I say it wrong or it doesn't make sense, that's your problem. I apologize. I like the Rob B username. But Aquila Shea, hashtag FBA, I love you too. Don't get your feelings hurt. Here we go. I have a coworker who is now giving me the silent treatment in the office. What are we in 6th grade? This person always takes things personally. We are not on the same team, so how should I approach the situation? Oh, I got to think about this one for a quick second. Number one, I think you have to do your best to figure out why they're giving you the silent treatment. And so I don't know if you are in the position, right? It sounds like there's some conflict here. So I don't know if you're completely objective. And I don't want to create gossip and you start talking to other coworkers and all that. That's not good. But do your best to figure out, did you truly do something? Now let's look at your second sentence here. This person always takes things personally. Well, they are a person. So let's also step back for a moment and go, are other people besides you causing this person to be really sensitive? And so if this is a very sensitive person, guess what? Do your best to rise above. And that leads me to my third point. If they're giving you the silent treatment, give them the silent treatment back. I think you avoid this. I don't know enough. I mean, we're not on the phone and I can't break the situation down. So based on what I'm reading, my kids do this to me. I got 3 kids. I punish my kids, and I lay down the law. This is what's going to happen. This is what you did. This was a boneheaded move. There are consequences to this. I'm sorry. It's not dad. It's you, pal. It's you, baby doll. You did it. Well, these are the consequences, and I lay it out there, and then they do the old, and they walk out of the room, what I like to call sticking their fannies in the air. They're just showing their little fanny to me and letting them know, they're letting me know that they're not happy with me. And so then like 5 or 10 minutes later, I don't care. I'm talking to them about something else. Hey, did you do that thing in the room I asked you to do? Or hey, can you bring your laundry down? Whatever it is. And they're giving me the silent treatment. So you know what I do? I chuckle to myself. I don't exasperate them any further. I just go, okay, great. This will pass. And I just ignore them. By the way, this coworker giving you the silent treatment, they're sticking their fanny in the air. Can you say that these days? Can you say that in 2020? Can you say that live on YouTube? They're sticking their fanny in the air. They're just letting you know, I'm not happy with you. I'm going to walk by you near the water fountain and I'm going to look the other way. Come on. What is happening? What is happening? Are we on the playground? I'm not going to talk to you at recess today. You hurt my feelings. Who cares? Keep on moving. 844-747-2577. What do you think, Madison? Madison, the associate producer, folks, you can't see her right now. She gave me this look. Zoom in here, Nathan. Let's get this camera. I just finished that point. I felt pretty good about myself, and I looked through the glass, and this is what Madison's doing. She gave me 2 thoughts. Go ahead. I'll share them. Oh, I like that. Thought number one was she wishes more people here would give her the silent treatment. I'll explain that in a moment. She makes a good point. Are you sure Aquila Shea, hashtag FBA, kind of has a ring to it now that I've said it for the third time. Are you sure that they're not just having a bad day that has nothing to do with you? Maybe they just, something's going on. Very good point, Madison, the associate producer. You got to walk around sometimes and realize that people are dealing with some pain that may have nothing to do with you. Get over it. Very good point. Thank you very much. But I need to explain why you said that you want people to give you the silent treatment. You need to know this about Madison, the associate producer. If you ever meet her, she's wonderful. One of the kindest, most steady human beings I've ever met. I love her to death. But she has there's no sensitivity, warm, fuzzy feeling chip in her. She just, she would rather just kind of do her thing. So it's not that she's not friendly. It's just, she's an extreme introvert. Is that a fair representation of you? Sort of. Yeah. She's shy. Okay. That's fair. All right. Fun stuff. 844-747-2577. All right. I've taken a little extra time, but that's okay. It's the Ken Coleman Show. I get to do whatever I want. I want to talk about what a gorilla and a basketball game will teach you about focus. So what I'm talking about here, because some of you heard me talk about this, and even Joe, the producer, was like, what? Hey, man, are you on that medication again? So there is a really famous psychology study, and you can look this up on the internet. I'm going to give you the short version. They put some people in a room, and they put them in front of a TV, and they said, what you're about to watch is a intramural basketball game. Two teams playing basketball. And the only thing we would like you to record is how many times the ball is passed in the game. So they're playing this full court basketball game, and we want you to record how many times the ball is passed, both sides. So everybody's like, okay. So they press play on the video, and the people begin to watch the game. And so I think it might have been a 10 or 15 minute exercise. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. The head of the study walks back in the room, presses pause on the game. And what you need to know is that in the middle of the game, they had a gorilla suit on a guy, and a guy runs out in the middle of the floor and just stands there in the middle of the game. Just stands there. Like a gorilla who's lost. Now, it's obviously not a real gorilla. It's a guy or a gal in a gorilla suit and in the middle of the floor. This happened in the middle of the amount of allotted time they let them watch, okay? So that has happened. So back to, they come in, they press pause on this, and they say, please give us your answers. And everybody turns in their answers. This is how many times we saw the ball passed. Then they said, how many of you saw the person in the gorilla suit? And only 2 people saw the person in the gorilla suit. I mean, folks, you're watching me here on YouTube. Imagine you're watching a basketball game on a video and you're like locked in, because this is what happens. I want you to get this. This is going to blow your mind if you haven't heard me teach on this before. They're looking at the video. They're like, okay, I'm writing down, making a mark on my paper every time I see the ball's passed. And in the middle of it, a dude walks out in the middle of the floor in a gorilla suit. But I'm like this. Ball pass, ball, where's the ball? Where's the ball? Here's what's crazy about this exercise, and here's what it teaches us. And here's what they were studying. A power of focus. Those people in that room were told specifically to focus on how many times the ball had been passed. And they were so intent, those who really participated, locked in on that one thing, so that when the gorilla walked out in the middle of the floor, their brain dismissed it to the point that they didn't even notice it. Can you imagine being in the room? What? There was a gorilla? They're like, that means the majority of the room was looking at the 2 people who said they saw the gorilla. Like, you're out of your mind. So they rewinded, I'm sure, and they showed them, this is where the gorilla guy walked out. And people were like, you got to be kidding me. I didn't see the gorilla. No, you didn't see the gorilla. Why did you not see the gorilla? Because you weren't focused on just observing the entire game. You were focused on one specific action. How was the ball passed? And the intensity of the focus teaches us something. What we focus on, our brain locks in on, and it's the only thing we see. Let me give you another example. Think about the last time you bought a car. All right? Do you remember remarking to people in that car on the way home or the next day or the day after that, then the week after that, and you're going, hey, there's our car. So look at that. There's our car. It's over there again. I didn't notice that car at all. I didn't notice that car. That car's everywhere now. No, it's not. Same amount of cars. What's happened? You were really, really focused on that car because of the intensity of that purchase. You really, really shopped it. You love the car. You're excited about the car. And that your brain is so focused on that car. What's happening? Your brain acts as a camera. And whatever you focus on, your brain goes out and it takes pictures of it. So I'm going to tie it all back together. This is the reticular activating system. Neuroscience has proven that our brain acts as a filter. So we control what our brain sees. It's a camera. If I'm focused on being a victim, everybody's out to get me, and that's what I focus on, guess what? Everywhere I go, I'm going to experience that. Now let's flip it. If I focus on, man, I've got a great opportunity in front of me. I've got great things happening in my life. I'm making some progress here, here, and here. Then I'm going to see opportunities everywhere. If I focus on fearful thoughts, the very thing that I'm afraid of, I'm going to see it everywhere. If I'm consumed with doubt, I'm going to see the evidence of my doubt everywhere. Folks, this is powerful. You cannot control a thought entering into your mind, but guess what? You can control whether or not you dwell on it. Do you see the difference? Negative thought comes in. If I begin to dwell on the negative thought so much that it becomes a belief, then my brain is going to go find evidence to support my belief. This is game-changing stuff. Final thought. I want you right now, or sometime today, to take inventory of what you are focused on. Be honest. Get out a pencil and paper and write it out. I have been focused on this. I have been focused on that. And then say, well, what should I be focused on? And begin to change your mindset. Change what you focus on, and you will change what you see. Amazing. That's how it works. So if you're stuck, it's always because you're stuck in a false belief. You're stuck in a rhythm and a pattern that is completely predicated on how you are thinking. You think differently, you act differently. Different and better results happen, then we feel better, and it is our emotions and feelings as the result of positive thinking and positive actions that cement new behavior. That's how it works, folks. And I challenge you to begin to do this. It'll be the breakthrough that'll change your trajectory in your entire life. Well, our time is almost up. But before I let you go, I want you to know that you do matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.